Now this motor should turn. Wow. Yeah. Welcome back to the channel. You might recognize this if you've been watching the playlists and the different projects and stuff. We've got the 99 Mustang back in the shop. Go back. I'll every once in a while I'll put a link up here in the top of the video of the previous stuff we've done to this old girl. Quite a bit of work, a little bit of mechanical stuff, some dress up stuff. It got waxed, it got buffed, all the door dings, well, not the dings, but the scratches and stuff got buffed away. New decals on the bottom. We detailed inside and out, and we put this fancy replacement top on, which I'm proud to say, ladies and guys, still looking good. But today, and I got it up in the air here. Today it's here because after it left last time, it went, oh, let's see, few months, and then the check engine light came on. So that's the only reason it's here. Everything else is just fine and dandy. So we hooked up the scan tool, and I didn't show that to you, but we got a P0411. And what that is, or at least it says on the tool is, and that's not a, I should, clarify, we don't have a scan tool. We still just have, the cheap Harbor Freight code reader that has data. Anyway, P0411 secondary air injection system, and the air volume is out of specification. What does that mean? Because what's the secondary air injection? Well, I don't know everything on these newfangled or newer Carsers, but here's what I do know. Under here, right around in here, and we'll show you when we get to it, there's an actual fresh air pump that pulls in atmospheric air and pushes it up through this hose here, and it comes down there, and it comes up to here. Then you've got a vacuum actuated air intake here, and it either opens and closes and lets that air go here. There's a T, kinda, one end here, one end down here, and each one of those goes into the front of the exhaust manifold. What that does is, when the engine is cooler at first startup in that sort of condition, it allows extra fresh air to enter the exhaust gas stream, and that apparently helps the catalytic converters warm up faster and start working more quickly. So it's, Uncle Sam emission stuff. The computer has decided that it's not getting enough airflow. Now, we've got a pump down here, could be the culprit. We've got a vacuum solenoid here that could be the culprit. And then we also have, I believe, a relay, or, well, we've certainly got a fuse, but we might have a relay or some other type of switch in the system that also operates that pump. So we're gonna first check our fuses, see if we can figure out which one is associated with our pump, and then we're going to go ahead and start the car, get under there and look at it and feel the pump and see if it's running or not. Most likely scenario is the pump has gone bad. It's an older car, doesn't have a ton of miles, actually pretty low miles, but it's old. All right, we did locate the fuse for the secondary air injection. It is this one, number 7 from here, and it's a pretty meaty fuse, big 30 ampere. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is 7 once again, and so my hand's not blocking you that way. All right, looking pretty good. So fuse is good. That brings us to the motor itself. We'll check for power down there. Okay, now we're under here. Now it appears, if you know, when you first get down here, like maybe there's a whole bunch of wires that go into here. This is a separate little doodad that hangs onto the same bracket that holds your secondary air pump. We've turned the passenger wheel all the way to the right, and then we just took out, there was a little plastic clip here and one screw here, and then you can bend the inner fender back, and the sway bar holds it. So we've got, so then we're left with this connector and this connector, which is held up on a little bracketry up here. We popped it out. When you look closer at this though, it has a protected connector sleeve, which isn't super unusual, but then it just has kind of an aluminum grounding plate, and it's just a square box. So, but for right now, we're gonna concentrate on this plug only, and see if we can get to the connectors for just our air pump here. And of course this has got retention on both sides, so that's handy to deal with when you're up underneath a car here. Well, now it only has retention on one side. Come on, don't be that way. There we go. All right, so as I kind of guesstimated, we got clean connectors in there, but this is just on off. This is 12 volts to one side and, you know, ground to the other side. So we've got white and we've got black. We're gonna turn our key back on. I don't know if this will ask for air with it running or not, but we're gonna try with the key on and check for voltage. And then we gotta check the ground circuit. If those check out okay, as far as the signal we're getting for the air pump, then we're gonna put power actually to the air pump and see if it runs. All right, now we've got some pigtails into this 2-wire lead going directly into the pump. We're gonna clip our negative on there, and we kept red as positive. Okay, nothing. Let's make sure that we have power here. We didn't give something up. We have power. Okay, and then let's also make sure that we didn't give up a ground. Let's go there. And then let's make sure we've got power. Yes. So we know that both of these leads that we have in this connector, and there's nothing going on in this pump. It's just dead. Okay, we got an update. See all the wires. Oh boy. So we did find some information to diagnose this a little bit deeper. Unfortunately, you know, we're doing some back probing here. This guy, turns out it is actually a solid state relay for the secondary air injection pump motor. We verified it's getting voltage and seems to be opening and closing like it should. It's a 12 volt motor, you guys, and we put 12 volts to positive and grounded to negative, and it didn't do a licking thing. So we're just gonna stop goofing off with, you know, back probing and doing that kind of stuff, and we're gonna get this guy swapped out, and then we'll see how happy the relay is with an actual working pump. We've got the hose unhooked already. It's dangling down here, kind of out of the way, and just two 10mm bolts then, and this whole assembly comes out, and then we can take the pump motor off, and on the bench we might feed it a little more beans and see if we can't get it to wake up. Still gonna replace on it. All right, we're on the bench. We got our smaller size jumper box out, and we're just verifying. I got my black and red leads hooked up to it. Just want to make sure. Yep, 12.98 volts. And then our pigtail for our motor. Remember, this pigtail goes to the motor, the other one goes to the solid state relay, so it's not in play. We're pumping power and ground directly into this motor, and we've got our positive hooked up. Can you even see? What are we doing? Can we see that? Positive is hooked up here. There ain't nothing going on. No smoke, no spark, no nothing. The motor comes, you can get it with the air pump attached. Most of them come just as the electric motor and in a gasket, and then you attach your old air pump here. So we're going to take this air pump off and take the motor off of the bracketries, and that way we'll be ready for when the new one gets here. I think it might be here tomorrow, and we can also get a better look at the motor itself then and see if maybe it's froze or in a dead spot or what. Well, that didn't take long. 4 screws. We got our plastic pump off. We notice there's a little bit of crumblies in there. We'll blow that out, and then there's just some silicone basically for a gasket, no big deal. And we just got a big fan in here for an air pump. So now this motor should turn. Wow. Yeah. She's just done. And then we've got some chunkies coming out of it. So we have, looks like we're off center, bushings or bearings went out, and it just probably made some noise, squealed and shuddered and all kinds of stuff until it finally just quit and burned up. Now, hopefully this motor going bad did not cause our solid state relay to overheat and go bad internally. We won't find out though until we get a good clean circuit for that relay to actuate, or operate is more of the correct term. So anyway, I got one of these coming. Hopefully it'll be here tomorrow. Real quick though, let's pull. I suppose there's just a regular motor housing here, but this ring is loose. So let's pull it off, and then let's see. Uh-oh, look at there. Got some moisture on my fingertips, a little bit on here. Let's get under this little booty. Oh my gosh. Look at that. Oh. Now, if you ever want to see a grenaded electric motor, how bad it could possibly get before it finally gives up, there's your answer. Holy smokes, this is a secondary air pump on a 99 Ford Mustang. Obviously has been taking on a little moisture here and there, and just, yeah, it's one chunk of steel now, and some barnacles. That's crazy. It's another next day alert, and actually it's next night, because now that I'm feeling better, I got to get caught up on some stuff. So we're burning just a little bit of midnight oil. There's the international truck. We got to clean the fuel tank on that bad ride too. But we're back on the Mustang. It's in here. It's nice out, but the door's closed because those fall mosquitoes are trying to get their last big meal before, you know, it really starts to cool off around here. And they're little guys, but they're vicious, I'm telling y'all. I'm looking for my parts clean, or wax and grease remover tripod here. But we got parts from the Mustang. We got a secondary air injection pump, a new one. Get that big box out of the way. And here it is. We kind of went for the cheapest one we can find, and it's a Dorman part, so it's not horrible. Let me see, where was it fabriqued? Made in South Korea. So, you know, that's the good guys, allegedly. And yeah, Dorman 306020. Now, for some reason, you can get this pump assembly with the plastic air part of the pump, but most of them list, I'll get that out of there, list something that comes, and I took the little black plastic thing off because I wanted to play with this. See how nice that spins now? Most of them come like this. And so we're gonna have to do some assembly. Now the good thing is no moving parts here, so that's okay. We don't really need this unless it's broken or cracked or something, and it's not. So we're gonna go ahead and reuse this. We're gonna clean all this out really well though, because there are some shavings and some grit in there. We don't want to take any chances of it getting back into this pump either. So we've got a pump. Looks to be good. It's got a new nubbin on it, and hopefully will stay weather tight. And then we've got a bag of stuff. And the first thing we notice is this is kind of a square shaped, rectangular square shaped connector with small spades, where ours was round with round female connectors. So do we have to rewire? Well, no. We go back and we look at our bag of goodies here, and let's see if there's something that applies. I'm pretty sure there will be. Oh, we got butt connectors just in case. This guy, that's, anyway, I don't think we'll use that. But, ooh, looky there. We've got, it'll plug into our rectangular flat spade male, and then it's going to adapt to what we have on this old guy right here. So we're golden, no having to cut and splice wires. I'm just going to take this right over to this guy and do that. And look at this guy. We get a little silicone gasket for it. That's going to go right into our little groove. So we don't have to use liquid silicone. We can use this guy. A pretty good part, I guess, is what I'm saying. And it probably should be because this was a couple dozen eggs shy of $2. And eggs ain't that expensive anymore. So not cheap. Hopefully solves our problem. I'm a little bit worried that with the way that this motor died, that it may have damaged the solid state relay as it died. We don't know that yet, and we won't know it until we get things back together and see if this new guy runs or not. we have an issue. Right here, yeah, it is. Right here, we have interference between our mounting bracket and our pump. Same thing on this side. This is a little bit different shape and design of housing than what we took off. So we're gonna have to get a grinder out and make a little room right there. Shouldn't be too bad though. Okay, we just cut out 2 little triangles because that's the angle that we could get in there with the cutoff wheel and the cordless grinder. And now we got just enough clearance there, and we got just enough clearance there. So let's go ahead and bolt this up. Okay, 3 10mm bolts. This is all reassembled and ready to go back in the Mustang. You saw where it came from. I'm gonna go reinstall it. We'll show you when it's back up in there. Okay, that wasn't too bad. It's all fastened up in here. You have the 2 bolts for this side of the bracket that have captured nuts on them. For some reason, there's a loose shouldered nut that you gotta weasel up in here, and it's a 12, not a 10. So we got it. It wasn't horrible. Plugged in our solid state relay. There's a nubbin for the wire keeper up here, so those plugins are in and connected and held up there. And then we just kind of, you know, tightened up how this fresh air hose kind of hangs out in here. So let's go start the car. Since this car's nice and cold, it should be trying to heat up those catalytic converters. All right. There we go. I can hear it already. It's going like crazy. It buzzes quite a bit, actually. Now it shut off. Is that all it does for that long? Let's clear the code. And I don't know, let's check, see if the light's on in the dash. But it's running and it's turning on and off. So I think our relay's okay. And obviously our motor's okay. But man, it makes some noise. So we hadn't clearanced that bracket, that mounting bracket, quite enough. Once we bolted the motor down into that bracket, even though the motor was on rubber feet, it was catching one of those points that we had squared off. We clearanced that a little bit more. Now it runs quiet. The warmer this gets, as we've started it now a handful of times, the shorter the duration of the run is for that injection pump. So I think that's working correctly. We cleared the codes. We've started it twice since then. And it's idling now with no light on in the dash. We got to throw the inner fender back in, and then tomorrow morning when it's cool out, we'll start it once more, and we'll start it a couple times tomorrow during the day and make sure that we've got this licked. But hey, it was a little bit expensive, but I mean, this car's worth it. It's a nice little Mustang. Next day alert, we're on our final road test in the 99 Mustang, and life is good. We got no check engine lights. We've had it cycled on and off a couple times today. Ran it in to get some parts earlier, and running like a top. When it's cool, you can hear that secondary air pump motor run for the appropriate amount of time and then shut off, and everything seems to be working. So thanks for watching along. Hopefully you got something out of this, or at least it was mildly entertaining to watch. Appreciate every single one of you. We're still closing in on 1K subscribers, so like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff, and we'll catch you on the next video.